to thank everybody for coming on, but at the same time, you guys are really here for a treat. I do want to thank my very good friend, Belle, and also Dr. Wang Yang, who actually has a Zoom meeting allowing up to 1,000 people. So if not, we wouldn't be able to have so many people on this Zoom session. So I want to thank them first. And then today we have a jam-packed agenda. So the most important person obviously is, Joseph and also Amanda, because they're the one who's going to help you a lot. But let me introduce you, Joseph, a little bit more so that way he can get started. Joseph Amato is appointed the District Director of SBA since, 2017. But, personally, I've known him for more than a month now, and just a very down-to-earth guy. Anytime people ask questions, answer. Many of you guys probably have known that already. But more importantly, leverage this Zoom session so that way we don't have to keep continuously answering the same questions. And you know what? Joseph's very, very busy. So let's not have him try to answer these, repeated questions. So I want each and every one of you guys to have pen and paper ready and make sure you notate it down. This is really good information today because, today's focus is really about when you receive money, how do you get it? How do you get your loan forgiven? That means you don't have to pay back, right? That's so important. So I'm just going to turn the mic mic to, Joseph, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Ready.
Okay, all yours. I'm going to hold your screen up, okay, as you're speaking.
Okay. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Obviously today, I'm a little bit different setting than you used to. I'm actually in my home office working, and I don't have my amazing, beautiful sidekick, Shannon Yang, with me today. And I wish I was doing with her together, but she's always available in our big WeChat group, which I'll get some of the information out to you later as well, so that we can constantly be able to assist you on an ongoing basis. And if you can see in the screen here, if you do need to get in touch with us, Chengping Wu has been amazing. After the 14,000th time, I actually think I've figured out how to say her name. And I think I'm doing a decent job, right? But for anyone that's interested in keeping in touch with us, anyone, please everybody mute your, for anybody who wants to get in touch, I have and our WeChat ID is J Amato, JAMATO 2020 is my WeChat ID. And Shannon is SHANNON Yang, YANG, one word, 1. So it's Shannon Yang 1, and you can see it on this top screen. And you can also reach me at joseph.amato, AMATO, @sba.gov. But Chengping Wu's done an amazing job at getting the information out to the groups that we've talked to. This is, I think, our 3rd or 4th webinar that we've done. So I want to get through this quickly because I have a very short amount of time. I have to be on conference calls with DC all afternoon trying to hopefully fix any problems with the forgiveness portion of this program. So next slide, please. Yay. Okay, I'm just going to do a real quick. The Paycheck Protection Program is obviously to help you as a small business and your payroll. We're doing this specifically. This program is put together by Congress to provide up to 8 weeks of payroll assistance and to pay either your employees if you're a business using your W-2 income, to pay you as an independent contractor through your 1099, or if you're a sole proprietor to pay you through your Schedule C. So it's worked out to be 100% forgiven unless you don't follow certain rules. And that's what we're going to get into real quickly in the forgiveness portion. So I want to make sure you all understand it. But one of the questions I keep on getting, especially from this community, is can I pay historic payroll? Can I pay payroll that happened 2 weeks ago? Can I pay for payroll that basically did, looking back? Understand something very clearly, because I get this question way too many times. People aren't listening. This is to pay for the 8 weeks of payroll post-closing. This is not to pay for historic payroll. You will not be forgiven if you start paying for payroll before the date you were funded. So the day you were funded until the next 8 weeks, you're supposed to use your PPP funding 75% of it toward payroll. You have to at least use 75% of it toward payroll. The other 25% you could use for eligible PPP costs like mortgage interest, rents, and utilities for your occupancy, for where you stay. But PPP, 75% of it at least has to be for payroll. And I get this question as well. Can we use 100% of PPP for payroll? Absolutely. But you can't use less than 75% for payroll. Next slide, please. We're going to go through these slides really quickly because go previous one. I'm sorry, you went too fast. Okay, this program ends June 30th. Just so you know, still went too fast. Back up one. It ends on June 30th. There's money still. There's over 100 billion still in this available for PPP funding. If you do end up with a loan, the loan is due in 2 years and it's at a 1% interest rate. But the goal of everyone I'm talking to right now is I don't want you to end up with a loan, and I'll explain to you that in detail why that should be. Next slide. I'm sorry. Go ahead. For those that matters, it's basically 100% guaranteed by the SBA. That's how Congress put it together. Payroll costs include everything having to do with gross payroll plus your health insurance. If you pay group health insurance as a business. If you're an independent contractor, the same thing. Your 1099 income, your gross amount, plus if you pay any group health insurance. And if you're a sole proprietor, it's basically your Schedule C, and if you pay any health insurance. Next slide. Any small business under 500 employees is eligible. Any independent contractor, any sole proprietor, any nonprofit. And the other question I get constantly, if you own multiple businesses, you can only apply for one company. One owner, one company. If you're partners in one company and partners in another company, you can only apply for one company. If you have a partner in the other company that's different than your first and they want to apply, they can't because you've already taken up the PPP by the fact of buying with one company. The only time that multiple companies are allowed is if you're in the hotel industry, the restaurant industry, or if you own a franchise. That's the only time you can do more than one PPP as an individual. Next slide, please. Who's ineligible? Anybody in the cannabis industry, anyone that's a household employer. So if you have nannies and servants and so on and so forth, you can't use. If you defaulted on any kind of federal loan in the last 7 years, you're not eligible. And this one has just changed. You can be a gaming operation. This is big for the state of Nevada. You can be in a gaming operation and now get a PPP loan. That was not the case when this slide was put together. Next slide. Just real quickly, there's two different programs. There's the PPP program, which we're talking about today. There's also the EIDL program, which right now is sort of on hold. If you have an EIDL application in, if you have questions about EIDL, you can email me or WeChat me later, or Shannon later. I already told you, Shannon Yang 1 or J Amato 2020 on our WeChat, or Joseph.Amato@SBA.gov. Next slide. I'm rushing through these because I really want to focus on forgiveness. Loans can be used to cover payroll costs, as I said, to pay interest on mortgages, rents under certain leases, and utilities. Now, I keep on getting questions about utilities. It's not difficult. What are utilities? When you live in your house, what are your utilities? It's water, electric, gas. It's not the rent on your car, the lease on your car. It's not your telephone bill. It's gas, electric, and what was the other one I said? Water. Next slide, please. Determining payroll, it's gross payroll. Everything having to do with payroll and your, all of that counts if you're a business. Your W-2 income, which basically Amanda, who'll be on here very shortly, will tell you for business, if you provide the 940, that's all you really need to provide is the 940, because we use that number, your gross payroll number for your 940. And if you do pay a monthly group health insurance, just bring a copy of your monthly bill is. So, and remember in payroll, if you're over 100, if you have employees over 100,000, you have to adjust that gross payroll to cover any employees over 100,000. You have to bring them down to 100,000 or $8,333 a month. I also want to make sure you understand that if you are a business, you can only include W-2 employees. You cannot use 1099 contractors. They can apply on their own. I've talked to at least 30 people on WeChat that said, I made a mistake. Stop making that mistake. We just can't make it any clearer. If you're a business, it's W-2 income. It's not your 1099 employees. If it's your business and you're using W-2 income, be smart about the number of employees you use. Use your average number of employees through the year. Try your best to get that lowest number possible because we know you're all having difficulty bringing all your employees back. And we're trying to accommodate that on the SBA side. There's new rules that are coming out. We're not sure how they're going to play out yet, but we're going to do everything we can to get you to forgiveness. Next slide, please. Okay, I'm going to skip all this. We'll talk about PPP again. I want to get to forgiveness. Next.
We will be talking about determining loan amount later with Amanda anyways.
Yeah, Amanda, you'll touch base on determining loan amount, right? All right, forgiveness. This is the most important thing. This is what we're here to talk about. This is what I'm selling you today. Write this down. It's so freaking important. There's two, look at the screen, two criteria of loan forgiveness. One is that you match the number of employees on your application. So be very smart when you're talking about your employees, especially if you're a seasonal business. And one of the mistakes somebody made yesterday for the first time is they added all their employees for over the year, which was like 25, but in reality, they really have 10 employees. But they had 25 different people working for them over a year, so they added all those people together that worked for them over the past year, and they used that number, and they submitted that number to the bank. I'm going to have to write a memo to the bank to basically say, listen, we've got to adjust this because it's not 25 employees. They just hired 25 different people over the year. At any given time, they're 10 employees. So you have to be very careful when working with the bank. Now, if you're working with Amanda, she will be gracious. She will work with you. She'll make sure that you use the right number. Because if you don't, it's one of the most important criteria for basically getting loan forgiveness. Now, how does this work? Say you have 10 employees, and that's what you put on your application. Day one, after you close your loan, you have to have those 10 employees on staff. Not the exact same people. It doesn't have to be Mo, Larry, and Curly again. It could be 3 other people. But you have to have the same number of employees that you put on that application, and you have to keep that same number of employees for the next 8 weeks. If you do that, then you're going to be in a position where you're going to be able to, hold on a second, where you're going to be in a position to get forgiveness by the first criteria. So the number of employees on your application, same number of employees for 8 weeks. Now, a lot of people ask me the question, can I hire more employees? You have to at least have the same number of employees, okay, as your application for the 8 weeks. If there are 10 people, you need to have 10 people all 8 weeks. If for some reason things start going well and you need to add 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, well, you're going to do that, obviously, for your business because you're the business owner, but realize that the money that you're getting for PPP is to pay for those 10. It's not to pay for the additional 2 or 3 or 4. But it's okay. It's okay if you end up with more people than you started with. What if all of a sudden, on average, instead of the 10 people we're using an example, there's 8? Well, what's the difference between 8 and 10? That's 80%. You'll still get forgiveness. You'll still get 80% forgiveness, but that other 20%, you know, depending on what amount, say you borrowed $100,000, well, $20,000 will be due in a loan over the next 2 years. So do everything in your power to use a number that makes sense, okay? To use that number that makes sense on your application and that you meet that number in day one, okay? And you meet that number in day one and day 1, week 1, all the way to day 7, week 8. Now, somebody's asking a question. If we use a 940 for W-2s for PPP, And that's obviously 2019's 940. I would tell you that's the most ideal thing to use because that's the easiest thing for Amanda to check. But if for some reason you don't start the business until later, or for some reason your first quarter 2020, your 941 is a better document to submit to Amanda, then submit that and she'll use that, dissect it over 3 months as opposed to 12 months to get the average and figure out your PPP funding for that. There's some people that for some reason they brought in more people in the beginning of 2020 and they want to get the higher PPP amount because they have more employees. You can do that. You can use first quarter 2020 as opposed to the 940 for all 2019. And I just saw that in a question here, so I figured I'd answer it. All right, the other portion, there's a two-pronged approach to forgiveness. One is the number of employees. The second, which is just as important, you have to spend at least, listen to what I'm saying, write this down. Do you want to say it in Chinese, Jinping? You have to have at least 75% of the total PPP funding you receive. So say you receive $100,000 in PPP funding, 75,000 or 75% has to go to payroll. Has to. So you have to have the same number of employees as in your application, and 75% of your PPP funding, your total PPP funding, has to go to payroll. If you meet those two criteria, you will get 100% forgiveness. Now, do you want to say that, Xiping?
Yeah. OK, so 如果要那个你的贷款豁免的话，最主要2点。第一呢，就是说你收到的钱 PPP 收到的总额你最少要发出去75%以上的PPP 的钱发到给员工的话，那你就可以得到豁免，这是其中一个条款。然后另外一个条款就是你在申请表上提供了几个员工，你就得要保持这些 PPP 钱有给这么多员工，只要这2个条款符合的话，那你的钱就可以豁免。
Sounded great, Jinping. Perfect. Although Shannon says it a little better. I think so. All right, so those are the two main criteria. That's what we needed to talk about most today, was that you have to have the same number of employees on your application for all 8 weeks. Now, there has been a sort of a caveat for those who understand. There has been an exception. What if you have a restaurant and you have 10 employees and 5 of your employees are currently on unemployment and they're not coming back because their unemployment is too lucrative. It pays them too much to come back. What you have to do, because you can't get all 10 employees back and 5 are on unemployment and cannot come back, this is the new rule that just came out the beginning of this week. You have to basically, whether you email them, WeChat them, send them any type of document asking them if they intend to come back and if they're currently collecting unemployment, if they don't. If they come back and say, we're not coming back at this point in time, we're on unemployment, you then, and say all 5 of those employees that are unemployment basically answer to you in writing, or you attempt at least several times to reach out to them because you know that they're not coming back because they're on unemployment. You then basically can discount your 10 employees in our example down to 5. And that would be the 5 that you still have. So there's what they now call the unemployment insurance exception. So if you have 25 employees and 15 of them are on unemployment and they don't want to come back right now, all of a sudden, even though 25 is on your application and you get 15 people coming back to you and say, we're not coming back right now because of unemployment, your magic number now is 10. And that works very much in your favor because then your magic number for forgiveness is 10. It's no longer 25. If you do get in writing, you send it out to them, they send it back to you in writing, and you can prove that to your bank that you have this information that, 15 people wouldn't come back. Now, it doesn't mean that because if you need more than 10 people, that you can't hire people to replace them, but at least it's giving you some safety in getting 100% forgiveness by the fact that you've had that unemployment insurance exception. Do you want to say anything about that, Jinping, in Chinese?
Let me translate that too. OK, 另外一点呢，就是说很多人可能 就是收到 PPP 的钱，然后呢，有一部分的人可能比如说你申请表上提供了10个人，然后呢5个人他们现在已经收了那个政府的失业金。那如果是这个情况呢，比如说5个人，那你可以其实可以变成只要符合5个人，只要符合那个5个人条款，那你就得要你得要问这些5个人回来工作。如果他们不想回来工作，然后他们的原因是因为他们已经收了失业金，但是要写下来，要记录下来，就是说因为他们收了失业金不能回来上班，或者不要回来上班，那就 OK 了，那你这样子就可以豁免掉。
Okay. All right. So again, for forgiveness, there's 2 tests. There's 2 things you have to pass. Amanda will talk about it, and we're going to talk about it more with Amanda because we're still trying to get some further clarification on some of the forgiveness issues with some of these changes that have come up. But again, remember, number of employees on the application equals the same number of employees that you need to have, during the entire 8-week period. And you need to spend 75% of your total PPP funding on payroll. The other 25% you can spend on eligible PPP expenditures, mortgage interest payments, utilities, rent, that type of thing. Okay, so I think at this point, I'll sort of, let's just go to the next slide, see what it is. Next slide. Next slide, we've already talked about
We'll go over
this.
this too. We'll go over what's needed.
Yes, and that's something Amanda will do, what the business will need. Just for anybody who knows, we are trying to this is all provided to you for free. Understand that when Amanda works for you as the bank, she's doing for free. You're not being charged by using the PPP program. All the fees are going to be paid by the bank or by Treasury, so you shouldn't be charged for anything you do with the PPP program. Next slide. Next slide. We're not going to talk about EIDL today. And here, for anybody that wants to get in touch with Shannon, here's her information. As I said, mine is jamato2020, my WeChat address, or you can reach me at joseph.amato@sba.gov. Let's take some questions now. How do you want to do this, Champagne? You want me to just read off the chat, or?
I think it might be better if I just share with you, so that way I could read it, so that way you don't have to spend time.
Sounds good. Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, so does the employer's portion of F941 tax, Social Security, and Medicare counted for?
Okay. Gross payroll, what we are using on the 941s, if we have to add all 4 together, or the 940 for the entire year, is just the gross payroll amount. Gross payroll means all taxes, all deductions, everything. We're just using the gross payroll amount. Now you're talking about the employer's portion. Well, in the 940 it basically includes all that information as we basically analyze it. We take the 940 divided by 12 months. Then we take that times 2.5 to come up with the PPP amount. The employer portion of the taxes, that's not included in 940. That still has to be paid for separately by the employer. But everything else on the gross payroll side, which includes all the deductions from the employee, that is included. Next.
Okay, if one partner doesn't want to take the loan, but 2 partners want, how should we do it?
Well, basically, the way, and I'll have Amanda get into this, basically 50% of the ownership has to sign for the PPP. So it just depends on the ownership structure. And Amanda will take that down in a note and then address it when she talks.
So for BB, I think you could reach out to Amanda personally because your situation is a little bit special. Okay. Min here asks, as a self-employed, can I use a loan to pay my own salary? Okay, so I think this is later we'll go into it with Amanda. Pretty much, if you're going to be 1099, use your 1099 to pay yourself. You're only your 1099, you are your employee. You'll pay your own self.
So basically, say you get the max for 1099, it's $20,832. Take that amount in your bank account, write 8 equal checks for 8 weeks, because you have to show that you're an employee of one that worked 8 weeks. Once you put that money in your personal bank account, guess what? It's yours to spend as you need. You spend to pay your rent, to pay your mortgage, to pay your utility bills, whatever it is, whatever your personal is. But you have to show the transfer between your business account and your personal account. What I'm telling most 1099 people to do is just either write yourself a check, cut it into 4 payments and write yourself 4 different checks, or cut into 8 payments and write yourself 8 different checks.
Okay, it's telephone and utility.
No, I already said that. It's communications.
Water, gas, electric. Okay.
Yes.
What about some of the previous employees who don't want to come back? We already answered that, so we're going to skip that. Can the money be used to pay 1099? You cannot.
Can what?
Can the money be used to pay 1099 contracts?
No.
Oh.
If you are in business, Amanda wanted to jump in this one quickly.
I was
If
ready
you are
for your
in business, listen to me, everyone out there, the 200 plus people on this thing. If you are a business and you are basically applying for PPP using your W-2 employees, you cannot use your 1099 employees in your 1099 contractors. They're not employees. In your payroll calculations, number 1. Number 2, if you are using W-2 and 940s to get PPP funding and you have 1099 contractors you want to keep on staff, you cannot use PPP funding to pay your 1099 contractors. You can only use PPP funding if you're a business and have applied for it using your W-2 employee count and using your 940 to pay those W-2 employees only. If you cannot use PPP money to pay 1099 contractors. I will make it very clear to you. 1099 contractors can apply for their own PPP. I've been yelled at, screamed at, well, these people work for us. I said, well, it's not the way the rules are written. You have to go by the rules. If you want to make up your own rules, then run for Congress and change the legislation. But I'm telling you, flat out, W-2, if you're a business, you're applying with W-2 employees, you're paying W-2 employees. No money from PPP should go from a business to a 1099 contractor.
So Joe, I want to add on to that. If you are a business owner and you want to help your 1099s, give them the information to apply for on their own.
Yes.
So that's the way you can help them, but they have to apply on their own.
And later we will talk more about 3 different methods of applying, and we will tell you to maximize it. So stay tuned. Okay, next question. Does SBA look at first quarter of 2020? Yes, you can use 941. The answer is yes.
Yes, I already answered that.
Okay, it's last year I have 5 employees, 2020. I only have 4 employees. So I receive PPP. How many employees I need to keep, 4 or 5?
Well, first of all, whatever you put on your application, I don't have to make that any clearer. Whatever number's on your application, whatever you agree to with your lender, that's the number. So if they say 4 is fine because that's sort of where you are now, that's where, and they're okay with it, then it's 4. If they say, no, historically you had 5, that means you'd have to add an employee. Even if you're at 4 right now, you'd have to add an employee.
So it's really based on the lender, and Amanda has been very helpful. Sometimes 4 is good. Okay, same amount of employees last year. Okay, I think this is the same question. Okay, how about 1099? We already answered that, So extra workers getting paid do not count as forgivable loan amount.
No, like I said, if you have 10 employees and for whatever reason your business is expanding because everybody else around you went out of business, and you have to go to 15 employees, well, 10 of your employees are going to be paid for the next 8 weeks through PPP funding. You have to realize that if you're adding people, it's probably because you're making more revenue. You're going to make up the difference with your revenue you're making for any employees that you're bringing on. So PPP is just for the employees that you apply for and then receive an award for. It's not for you growing the business. So that's a strategic decision you're going to have to make as a business owner.
Tony, you asked for Amanda
Next one.
info. We will. Stay tuned for the meeting. I got approved for EIDL loan, but I didn't get advance payment. Is EIDL including my advance payment already?
No, some people just got EIDL. Some people got EIDL advance. Some people got the advance first. Yeah, that's an easy one. Some people just get an EIDL loan. Some other people who ask for the advance sometimes just get the loan. All right, next one. Next question.
You cannot use PPP funds to pay anyone over $88,333 for 4 weeks.
Yeah, per month, $8,333 per month. So basically, none of your employees should make more than gross income, gross payroll, more than $16,666. It's that simple. So in that 8-week period, no one, including yourself, if you're on payroll, even though you get paid $300,000 a year normally, you can't basically get paid more than $16,666 during that 8-week period.
Do we need a separate bank account for PPP fund use? If not, is there a template required to track use of PPP funds?
That is up to the lender. Some lenders will require you to set aside a loan, basically account with them to manage your PPP funds. I'd say about 95% of lenders are asking that. And I would encourage that because you do want to keep these funds separate from your normal business funding, because everything that you do is based on why we're talking right now and for the last 36 minutes is forgiveness. You want to have this forgiven. So you want it as a clear, precise way for you to basically reconcile the money that came in from PPP, how it was spent, and how many employees you had in order to get 100% forgiveness.
If I am self-employed, can I write myself a check?
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, you're 1099 or self-employed. You write it from your business account to you personally, and you show on the ledger the 8 checks over the 8 weeks or the 4 checks every other week. You basically write the check to yourself, and then you basically can pay your personal expenses from that once it hits your own account.
What if you haven't got the chance to set up a business account? So you've only been using your social security number and your name. Do you pay yourself?
Well, for sole proprietors, there's definitely some of those issues. All I would say is if the bank doesn't require you to set up an account with the bank when they give you PPP funding, then it's very, very clear that you have to really manage the way you disperse those PPP funds very, very carefully in order to get forgiveness. So if you have that situation, just be careful.
So maybe we'll have Amanda to fill it in, because for many people who are online, maybe you will be going through Amanda. So we'll have Amanda go walk us through later, okay?
And Amanda, is Jeremy requiring them to open up a business account to put the money in?
There's a business account that will be opened, yes.
Yeah, so with Amanda, there will be a business account.
Awesome. Question answered.
Yes.
If apply for 1099 for PPP loan, how to prove that the loan can, okay, that's already answered. If LLC with EIN apply PPP, can this person apply for his other business with SSN for another?
No. One person, one person, one PPP. Plain and simple. Unless you are a restaurant, a hotel owner, or a franchise owner. One owner. If you have, I don't care if you have 10 businesses, one's an LLC, one's a C Corp, one's an S Corp, one's a sole proprietor, or 10 or so proprietors and 4 LLCs. One entity. Once your name goes into the system, your social security number goes in the system with one tax ID number or one social security number, you are done. No more PPPs unless you are a hotel owner or you are a restaurant owner or you are a franchise.
Okay, so earlier, Joseph, you also mentioned that, as long as you have attempted to contact these employees to come back, but many of those employees already receive unemployment benefit, and they are just not returning your calls. How do you establish they're not returning your calls? Or
well,
how do you establish
basically that? What we're trying to work out in Washington right now, and we're in the legislation, if you make a reasonable attempt, I don't know how you would translate that into Chinese, but reasonable. You make a reasonable attempt. That means say you email them or we. I'm going to tell you. if you make like if you try to reach them like 3 times on email and 3 times on WeChat and 3 times on Tinder, I don't care, and just you document it just so that you've reached out to them and you basically say, you know, we are starting business operations. We're attempting to bring you back. Please contact us and tell us the status of your reemployment. Then they don't answer you. Then you say, this is the second attempt for us to try to contact you. We are reopening. We're attempting to bring you back, blah, blah, blah. They don't answer again. Then you say, this is the third time we've attempted to bring you back, blah, blah, blah. At that time, you could sit down with your banker and they're going to see that you made every attempt. And this guy, obviously, or girl did not want to come back, but you made every attempt. We're trying to write in the legislation that is a reasonable attempt to bring them back. Okay?
Okay, so Joseph 这里说 ，Yes, let me translate that. 这里很多人问到，就是说，如果员工不想回来工作，怎么样子也可以得到豁免？那你就是Joseph 说，你尽量就是3次邀请他们回来上班，可能内容就是，嘿，我们现在要开工了，我们现在要开工，我想邀请你回来上班。1次他们没回复，你要写，嘿，这个是第2次，我想要邀请你回来上班。如果他还是没有回复，你再记录一下第3次，这是我第3次邀请你回来上班。你如果还不回来，如果他还不回来，你就或者没有答复的话，你就是记录下来 ，you know， 留在那里给银行证明看就好了。All yours, Joseph.
Okay. Next
Okay,
question.
so can new business start at January 2020 qualify? Yes, as long as their business has started before February 15, 2020.
Look at you knocked one out of the park. Good job.
I am the professional right now. You trained me so well. Okay, for sole member LLC owner for our income, do we use our net profit on Schedule C times that by 8?
No. And Amanda will go over this as well. If the last document we want you to use is Schedule C, line 31, unless you're a very, very profitable Schedule C. If you're a Schedule C, line 31, you're taking that amount divided by 12 times 2.5. Amanda will go through that. Schedule C is the least attractive way to do this. If you're 1099, it's the most attractive way. Obviously, if you're a W-2 940 business, then that's the best way. So,
yes.
Next question.
I bought a nail salon October 2019 and had 3 employees and started working with me, but they didn't want only cash. What do I need to do to be qualified for the loan?
Well, beside breaking the law, because you probably didn't pay taxes for those individuals, you probably can't do anything. If you're a business and your employees aren't getting paid in a way that they're basically being tabulated in some kind of tax document, there's no way you can collect PPP.
Okay, so yes, maybe there's another way around it. If you're getting a 1099, this is something I learned from Amanda, and you can double check with me, okay? If you're getting a 1099, maybe from Square, maybe from, point of sale, and it's sent to your corporation EIN number, you can use that 1099?
Yes.
Okay, so you can use that.
Yeah.
1099.
Well, the individuals can use that, probably not the business, because normally that would be payable to the individuals that work there in the salon. That wouldn't be payable to the business. Now, if the business got a 1099, yes, you could use that 1099, but I can't imagine it's going to be that great of an amount of money. But if it is, it's great. If it's more than $100,000, you're going to get $20,832 of PPP funding. So, yeah. So if you do receive a 1099 and you're the business owner, like I own this company that reports Schedule C. When my company's making $1 million a year, I get 4 or 5 1099s from clients. I could use those 2 1099s as opposed to using my Schedule C line 31. So yeah, so there is that kind of opportunity to get back in the 1099, and Amanda's bank will allow 1099s to get gross income, use that gross income from 1099 to be basis for your PPP.
Yes.
Hi.
Amanda, you also want to add something here, or?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. W-2 need the same amount of people. Oh yeah, I have a question. So the 1099, if we're issued to the company, and we should be following with the 1099 rule or actually with the corporation rule. So example, if they do have 3 employees.
Okay, so say the business gets a 1099, okay? And that business has no employees but you. Okay, all your other people are contractors. You would be an employee of one, you'd submit to 1099, and that's it. So instead of applying really, and this is real important, Amanda's going to stress this big. The 1099 application or the application should reflect the name on the 1099. So if the 1099 says hair salon, then the hair salon will be the applicant and the hair salon will have 1 employee.
Yes.
If the 1099 says, you know, Mrs. Grace Amato as the recipient of the 1099, then Mrs. Grace Amato will be the applicant and it'll still be an employee of 1. So whatever is reflected, we have people that are submitting 1099s on behalf of their employees, or the 1099s are putting their business name on the application when they should be putting their own.
Yeah,
so
one of the other ones that we see a lot are 1099s who are applying, but they're putting the business name as the business that they're receiving the 1099 from, which is also incorrect.
Yeah.
Yes, we're definitely going to touch on that again. So, you know, earlier, Joseph, you said that 1099, you sent to EIN number and you're the only employee. That's one scenario. But if you're that 1 employee, but you also have 2 more 2 W-2s, are we still considered as 1?
Say that again.
So we have say example, you know, 1099 is sent to EIN number, that business, right?
Right,
and in that business, you know, you're the owner, and then you have 2 W-2 income earners.
You have to pick one or the other. You have to pick one or the other. If you're the business owner and you get a 1099 and you also have employees, you have to see where you're going to get more PPP funding from.
Of course, only one, because of course the 1099, because you only have to worry about yourself. You don't have to hire anybody anymore.
Yeah, but then again, depending on your employees, do you really want to just worry about getting yourself $20,832, whatever that number is, or do you want to worry about taking care of your employees over the next 8 weeks? So you have to make a business decision.
You make a decision. All right,
yes.
Good. Okay.
For everyone that basically gets PPP funding, I know that I just saw this question. I heard it a lot the last couple of days. The PPP money comes from the U.S. Treasury. It goes right into your bank account as a lump sum. So if you get a $100,000 PPP award, that $100,000 is going to go into your bank account of your business that you identify, and that $100,000 is supposed to be spent over the next 8 weeks. Any bank and Amanda's bank does it lump sum as well. There are some banks that are telling you they're going to control the flow of money, and that's happened a couple of times the East Coast, because the East Coast sucks. And I'm from New York, so obviously I'm only kidding. You know, don't let if that happens, inform me, inform Chen Peng Wu, inform Shannon. Let us know immediately if your bank is trying to do that to you. That's illegal. Okay. I've got time for about 5 more questions.
Okay. My friend owns a talent agency. Refer to me. My son and daughter, they look really good. I want to get them into talent agency. When the talent works his agency, get paid, then he pays the talent. Does he get the loan forgiveness?
Well, it depends on how he submits for, you know, how his company is set up. Is his talent, are they contractors, which they probably are? If they're contractors, then he can't even apply for them. They're not employees. So that's a tough question. I would deal with that one-on-one and have to have more information, more detail to be able to give him a good answer. Most talent agencies I know, they pay their talent as contractors. They don't pay them as employees.
Message Amanda or...
Yes, that's what I was just going to say. Those are the kind of questions we get all the time.
Can the employee be, can the payroll to employee, okay, we already answered same or not, it doesn't have to be. I am a full-time employee who owns my own business and I file W-2, my business P&L. I have filed the EIDL. Can you, okay, so if the question is, you already applied for EIDL, can you apply for PPP? The answer is yes.
Yeah. Yes.
If I, okay, you know what, I should ask you. If I hire more than application number of employees, can I pay extra salary and have it forgiven for the extra? You already answered that.
No, you can. You're only going to get a forgiven for the amount that you're awarded. So if you hire more employees, you're going to be responsible for paying for those employees. That is not forgiven. No.
Right. So, Min, you asked if you have more than 100K. So you can, if you make more than 100K in 1099, all you can use is 1099. All you can use is maximum 100,000. The maximum you can get paid is $8,333. What exactly documents do you have?
And if you have multiple 1090, wait a second, hold on a second.
Yes.
If you have multiple 1099s to get to that 100,000, that's fine. I know I've sent Amanda a couple of them where, you know, they have 2 or 3 1099s to equal over 100,000. She'll still only give you up to 100,000, but she'll use all 3 1099s as basis.
Yeah. And just to add on to that, we're getting several sole props that only have one person and it's themselves, right? But they're doing, so they're also asking for more than 100,000, which, if you think, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you think about this, each individual cannot go over $100,000.
Each individual can go, yeah, cannot, except the add-on for group health insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that means that if your Schedule C is saying more than, Schedule C line 31 is saying more than 100,000, we're still using 100,000.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
If it's one.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's one person.
Yep.
Yeah, if there's 2 people in the operation, then you can go up to 200,000. Okay, got a couple more?
Nice. What exactly documents do we need to prove the PPP loan forgiveness? Amanda will answer that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Amanda will do that. I mean, it's pretty simple. You're going to have proof of payroll. Good.
Oh, no, that was the next question. If you want to answer, you can.
I mean, you're going to need a proof of payroll. So you need your payroll report, whether it's from ADP or you do it internally. You're going to have to show that you're paying your employees and how much you're paying your employees. And then you can do we're going to figure out if there's a quick reconciliation sheet that comes from us, or it's something that's going to just be given by the banks that show, here's your 100,000 in PPP funding. Here's 79,000 you paid toward payroll. Here's the backup. And then there's the number of employees. Here's the backup. Now, believe it or not, a good portion of this is going to be you certifying as the recipient, as the applicant, you certifying in writing by signing a document that said 75% or more of your payroll went toward, 75% or more of your funding went to payroll, and that you have the same number of employees on the application for the entire 8 weeks. If there's the smaller loan amounts, I think that's all that's going to be necessary. But on the bigger loan amounts, they may ask for more. I would just be prepared to have your payroll reports for the 8 weeks, which basically will show how much was paid and the number of employees. And if you did pay any outside eligible PPP costs, to also have a reconciliation of that. So it's not, over an 8 week period, you're just going to have to monitor pretty well where the money goes and be able to prove it.
Okay, so one of the questions is, if I had applied for PUA as an independent contractor, can you still apply for PPP?
Okay, now understand, first of all, we don't answer unemployment questions, but if you are an owner, a business owner, and you are not a W-2 employee business owner, and you get PPP for your staff to pay them, but you have paid, it's pretty hard. But the rules are weird. You could be a business owner and still be on unemployment, yet you use PPP to pay your employees because you're allowed to take out a loan. It is a loan at first. You're allowed to take out a loan, and that loan basically will allow you to still maintain your unemployment insurance. So it's pretty tricky. What I tell everybody to do is if you get a PPP loan and you're not going to pay yourself out of the PPP funding, just let unemployment insurance know that you receive PPP funding for your staff. You're not taking any money out directly for yourself, and you still probably could still collect unemployment. Now, if you're a 1099, you're usually not eligible, but under certain circumstances, now you are eligible for unemployment provider. And you do get PPP funding, which you're paying yourself. You have to inform your unemployment insurance agency that you're receiving money. If you inform them and they say, that's great, you can still do that and still keep receiving money, that's good. And they may say to you, you have to stop collecting unemployment. Let them help you make that decision.
Okay, there's a lot of questions, 62 more to go. But okay, one of the question is, if I'm a realtor and got PPP funding using 1099, can I use PPP funding to pay for my SEP IRA?
No.
Payroll yourself.
Just payroll yourself.
And the maximum,
you can write a check to yourself and then pay into your SEP IRA. Yes, but you can't use it with funding directly.
Yeah, the maximum you could get is $20,833 divided by 8 weeks, and then you have to send it to yourself.
Yes.
Okay, there's a lot of questions. Okay.
And just so people know, that's $2,604 a week. That's $20,832 divided by 8. That's $2,604 a week, which is better than unemployment for that.
And also, only if you're the maxing it.
Right, of course, of course.
Another question is, if you are working for the city and you have your own business, can you also qualify for PPP?
Say that again.
So pretty much you have a job with the city and then you have your own business. Can you also apply for PPP?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Let's go 2 more.
Okay, 2 more. I can't read as fast as you. Okay, you can ask if one partner from 3 people's partnership don't want to sign, can you get a loan? Can you still get a loan?
Say that again.
I think the question, it's the same question earlier. Pretty much 2 people want to apply, but 1 person doesn't want to apply. And then earlier you mentioned about 50%. Can you just, this is a conversation to talk with a lender.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time, if both partners are not willing to do it, then most of the time the bank is not going to give them the loan. But if the majority partner is willing to do it, sometimes the banks will. The bank will make a decision based on the information that they have at hand.
Okay, and also someone had asked if I already have PPP loan. Some of the people who are not accepting, some of the banks who are not lenders are not accepting 1099. This is the chance you could actually, use Amanda's lender.
Right, Amanda's bank will use 1099s for independent contractors as basis for PPP.
And yes, you can cancel them and apply with Amanda, as long as you have not signed a promissory note.
Yeah, and if you do cancel with another lender, make sure that they have not pulled your SBA E-Tran number. It's E-T-R-A-N. It's an E-Tran number. You have to get confirmation that they have removed the E-Tran number from your file. Because if Amanda gets the loan, it gets the application, goes to process it, and the E-Tran number is already taken by your federal tax ID number, she can't do anything. So you have to make sure you get confirmation that the E-Tran number has been removed from the system.
I think that's pretty much all the questions.
All right. Well, that's perfect because I got to run to another meeting. Guys, it's been amazing. We'll do this again next week if we have to. I would imagine Chimping Blue will do at least one more thing on forgiveness, and definitely, with Amanda, I mean, this is a good thing for her to follow up on and talk about and sort of reinforce some of the things I said. If you guys run into a tough question, Amanda, just I can take text
Okay.
during this next meeting, and I can answer a text real quick, okay?
Always
Okay.
appreciate it, Joe.
Champagne Room, amazing. Love you. Thank you so much. And I'll be back soon, okay? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Joseph.
All right, now I'm gonna pull up Amanda and I's slide. Everybody can see, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I do want to let you guys know you guys are really here for a treat just because, you know, Joseph originally had no time to join our call to answer all these, you know, straightforward answers and questions. But somehow, some way, he want to help all of us out. So you guys are very, very lucky. And then the next thing is that, you know, Amanda literally texted me this morning saying that the lender will not be accepting any more applications after 11 a.m. our time. No, 11 a.m. your time, 2 p.m. our time, which is exactly now. But then because of Joseph Amato, he was talking to the lender, he used his power, and he's able to get the lender continue to accept applications. So I want to let you guys all know there is a sense of urgency, but that's also one of the reasons why, you know, Amanda and I and also Joe, we booked these, you know, Zoom sessions back to back just so that we could reach out to more business owners, more people so they can actually receive money. Okay, Amanda, I'm going to have Quinn online because let's have a little bit more English and Chinese just because we do have a good portion of Chinese people here. Yeah. And we're going to do translations. Last time we had a very good flow. With Joe, we can't do that because we don't.
That's okay. We have this nailed down. Hey, can I make it a little announcement really quickly? Because some of these people might be on the call. Wingo International, King Chef Kitchen, Sunluck Chinese Food. If you're on the call today, you just received an email from me while we were on the call, congratulating you that you have an approved SBA loan number. So if you are on, congrats.
And I know that all of that means is actually more than $100,000 approved so far, just with those calls. And also, I want to, you know, after you get all that money, please treat us out for lunch. And, all right, all yours.
Yes, we are very grateful for all of you in putting this together. So many thanks to you and your team, because without you, we wouldn't be able to do all of this. Just so you know, from an HPP perspective, HPP Capital was around before all of this happened. And we're all about helping business owners get access to capital. So this is why we're involved. And so we really appreciate all of the work to get as many business owners as we can the funding. Just yesterday, we well, as of this morning, we might be at the $15 million mark for loans processed overall for PPP through our company. So we want you to be part of that if you are still seeking a PPP loan. So, but we need to make sure that the applications are correct. And so that's what we are going to go through today. And then I'll allow you to translate here. You don't have to translate everything that I just said, but so we're going to go through 3 different methods of applying for PPP. One is attending 1099. The other one is a sole prop with a Schedule C. And the third one is a W-2. So if you want to translate that, Quinn.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda.
Yeah.
You know, I missed, I thought today's training is at 2:30. Oh my God.
Oh,
I missed
okay.
a whole half hour. Anyway, OK， 下面我帮大家翻译一下。Amanda 刚刚说，就是申请 PPP 有3个方式可以申请，一个是1099的收入者，一个是独资企业者，还有一个是INC、LLC、S Corp 或者 C Corp。这3种方式都可以申请 PPP。
Okay, so next slide if I can. I don't think I can click forward, sorry.
I can click next. I want to emphasize here, Quinn, can you please translate? Pick one method and stick with it. And what that means is that you know, you can use all 3 methods to find out whichever one you're going to get the maximum amount, and you stick with it. You pick one, say example, if you know Schedule C is going to get you more money for 1099, use that. But if you know that 1099 is going to get you more money for Schedule C, use that and only use 1099. Don't, you know, if you're 1099, you do not have any more employees. You're only one.
So go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. 那很重要的一点，就是说你们如果去申请，选择一个方式，那你们能贷到最多的款的话，你们就选择那一个。比如说你是1099的收入者，对吧？那你能贷出的款可能比你独资企业你的另外一个生意贷出的款更多的话，那你就用1099去申请 ，OK？ 反正哪一个款项可以帮助你拿到最多的贷款，你就用那个方式去申请。我们这边我们接下来也会讲到 ，you know， 我们会教你怎么样去收集哪一些资料。
So one other thing that I want to make sure that I point out, if you are a realtor, we get a lot of realtors. If you're a realtor, more than likely your 1099 is going to be the better option for you. So Quinn, go ahead.
Yes. 那你如果是地产经纪，那一般情况下，你的1099的收入应该会帮你贷到最多的款，所以说你用1099去申请，然后你的 employee 就是一个人 ，OK， 就是你自己。
Yep.
Another thing is that 1099K is also okay.
Yes.
109K 也是可以的。
So one other thing, more than likely, Schedule C income should be your last choice, more than likely, unless you have an extreme situation. But we like to use Schedule C as a last option. So if you have W-2 employees, or if you have 1099, that's usually a better option for you. But we will take Schedule C's, obviously, if you do not have any other choice.
那你申请如果没有1099，或者说你不是公司 ，you know 发给W2 员工的话，那我们也会接受 Schedule C 的申请。
Okay, all right. So if you are receiving 1099 income, now I'm going to repeat this because Joe is very clear. This is not for your 1099, who you're paying 1099s to. Okay, so don't think of it that way. This is if you receive 1099 income.
这个是如果你的109是写到你自己。
Okay.
Make sure 那个1099他说 to 是你的工卡号码，就这个意思 ，OK?
Yep. So we need all of the 1099s, the official tax documents that you are including in your total to be sent to us.
我们需要下面所有的这些资料，其实很简单，就你2019年的1099，对吧？所有的1099，然后呢，你驾照的正反面，而且重要的一点就是说 ，PPP 只有绿卡或者公民才能申请的 ，OK， 其他人都不能申请 ，OK。然后你就算申请出来钱付给员工，员工那些也是要是绿卡或者公民才能算投诉的。然后还有你的 PPP 申请表，一张作汇支票 ，OK。然后你如果算法那个就是从1099的第7号框子里面除以12来乘以2.5，就是你贷款出来的数额。
That was a lot longer than what I just said.
如果是 okay, let me just add because she just read the whole list. You can read the list.
Right.
如果是1099K 的话，你是按照那个1号 A 的框框除以12乘以2.5。Now all yours, Amanda. You can read the list.
Okay. So we need a front and back of a driver's license, an article of incorporation if the 1099 went to a corporation and not you individually. So for instance, if you have an LLC and the 1099 was written to your LLC, we do need articles of incorporation or a Secretary of State document.
OK, 那1099申请的话，你如果是1099是付到你的成立的公司，那也需要你的公司成立的一个文件。
Okay. Of course, the PPP application, which we're going to go through how to fill out here in a second, avoided check. And then it's important to understand where you find the 1099 income. So if you have a 1099 miscellaneous, it's box 7. If you have a 1099K, it's 1A on the form. And then you simply divide by 12 to get your annual, average monthly, and then multiply by 2.5 to get your loan amount.
OK， 1099那个算的方法就是我刚才说的7号框对吧？除以12就是你月数，它有写 average monthly income 一个月是多少，然后乘以 2.5。很重要的一点，你一定要把 2.5 算到精确到在 decimal 那边，比如说多少多少5毛或者多少，一定要写出来，因为他们对于这个很严格。然后你如果是 1099K 的话，是看1号框那里，然后除以12，然后乘以 2.5， 要准确的写出 2.5 倍的准确数字出来。因为你只有收集所有的资料齐全，这样子才能最快的让你的贷款批出来。
Okay, sole proprietor. Well, you're clicking things.
Back.
So sole proprietors, these are people who have no employees, no W-2 employees. You might think you have employees, but they're 1099s. Those do not count as employees. If you do not have any W-2 employees and you do not have 1099 income, this is the bucket for you. This is the path forward for you. So you need the Schedule C. Now, if you have not filed your 2019 Schedule C yet, that is okay. We still need it filled out. We cannot use 2018 Schedule C.
OK， 你如果不是1099的员工，或者说你不是也没有发工资给 W2 员工，那你就是以独资企业者来申请。那么独资企业者需要的资料，首先是你2019年1040的 Schedule C， 就算你还没有去申报这个税的话，你也是可以拿出来用的。
Okay. We also need to have an articles of incorporation, or a business license, or a Secretary of State document to show the date you started your business.
那么还需要你公司成立文件，那或者说你的生意的执照来证明你的公司是什么时候成立的。
Okay, and then we need driver's license front and back, the PPP application, voided check, and you would use your line 31 on your Schedule C as for your calculation.
然后需要你 PPP 的申请表，你驾照的正反面，一张作汇的支票，然后呢，你算法就是看 Schedule C 上面第31行除以12，就等于你每个月的数字，然后乘以 2.5 就等于你可以贷款的数字。Amanda, I have a question.
Yeah.
On the Schedule C, sometimes it's one name on the top, sometimes, 2 names. Do you count 1 employee or 2 employees?
So are they partners?
Yeah, it's husband and wife.
Husband and wife. So it really depends on the situation and how they're getting paid. So that would be, we would look at that and try to understand, are they taking draws from the business? Are they giving themselves W-2 income? Are they pure just both listed as owners, but one's only taking income? So there's a lot of factors there.
It's so the owner is only one person, but the wife, the name is also on there. So
we would take the owner in that case if she's not
okay.
getting.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Okay.
Wait, you need to translate yourself there.
Okay, sure. OK， 那我刚刚就是问到的，就是说，如果我知道有一些人他们在 Schedule C 上面有可能是夫妻2个名字都在上面。那 Amanda 刚刚回答就是说，他只要以这个店主来申请，就是1个员工来申請，就是你填表的时候就填1个员工就好了。
Okay, all right. Okay, I think that's it on this slide. Okay, so if you have actual W-2 employees, this is the route for you. You could be a sole proprietor and have employees. We do have a couple of those. So let me be clear. If you have a 940 tax document, you have a 940 tax document, that means you have W-2 employees. This is the route we're going to take you down. So you do need your federal tax return. We will need, if you have them, we like to have the 940 from 2019. If you had a more, if you had paid out more in Q1 of this year, then we would also look for your 941 for Q1 of 2020. And Quinn, you can take them.
Yeah. 你如果有公司的话，你有付工资给 W-2 员工，那你就是以这个公司的名义去申请这个笔贷款。那么你所需要的资料是2018年或者2019年的税单，2019年的940， 2020年的941，还有一个公司成立文件，2019年员工工资总结单，2020年员工工资总第1季度，你这些可以从你的会计师那边去拿。然后呢，他们应该不需要 charge 你任何费用，因为你平常都有付工资给他们。
Okay. All right. Let's see here. We also will need, and this is for backup documentation and to make sure you didn't pay any employees over $100,000 last year. We like to see our payroll summary by employee for 2019, and then a payroll summary by employee through the end of February of 2020. And again, that is to validate that you did not pay anyone over $100,000. Now, some of you might be joking right now or laughing because you're nowhere near that. But we do like to see this either way. Again, just as backup documentation to make sure that we're not counting more, so you don't get impacted for forgiveness.
那在我刚刚说的那个2019年2019年员工工资总结单上，他们需要这个证明，是因为他要看你有没有付哪一个员工超过10万的工资，1年，对吧？还有2020年的员工工资总第1季度也是查看有没有付任何一个员工超过10万的工资。
但是你only, but if your loan amount is so far lower than like, you know, $20,833, it didn't matter. As long as you're not paying anyone more than $8,333, you're good.
Yeah.
You don't even need that proof.
Okay.
Yeah.
你如果反正你任何一个员工你没有付他们超过8万多的工资的话，那你也不需要这个。
8000多。
8000多一个月对吧？8223一个月对吧
8333
一个月对不对 ？OK， 你如果没有付任何一个员工超过8333一个月的话，那你不需要这个证明。
Okay. All right. Let's see, what did we cover here? Oh, just the standard driver's license front and back. I did get asked a question this morning. What if I don't have a driver's license? Any other government issued ID? If you have a passport, anything like that, that's what we would need. Obviously the PPP application and a voided check goes a long way. Okay. calculation for this, if you have W-2 employees, okay, you're going to take your 940, likely you're going to take your 940 unless you want to use your 941 from this year, and you're going to divide it by 12 to get your average monthly payroll, and then you're going to multiply it by 2.5 to get your loan amount.
And just to be clear, all the employee had to be green card or citizen, right?
They have to be located here in the United States.
Amanda, Joseph clarified.
Yeah.
First, only residents and above. Resident means that you have to be green card and U.S. citizen above to apply for this. And so is employees. I think this has something to do with Trump. Only U.S. citizen and green card holders can apply, and they can get.
Yes. So let me read the exact question on the application, if that clarifies.
We're gonna talk about it, Amanda. I already.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything?
就像我刚刚说的，员工或者申请人都要是绿卡或者公民才能申请的 ，OK？ 然后呢，你如果没有驾照的话，你可以用ID 或者说你的护照都可以来发给他们。然后需要你的 PPP 的申请表，一张作汇的生意支票 ，OK？ 你的 business 的支票，然后算法就是拿你的940除以12，然后呢乘以2.5，就等于你的贷款的额度。
Okay.
Okay, very good. Next slide.
Yep. So this is the application. I just sent everyone in the chat session the link to the application. So it is there. You would also get that from us if you emailed us, but this is the application. So I want to walk through how you fill this out. You're welcome.
You can download the form online too.
Yes, that's the link that I sent it, because I always send them the link because you never know if the form changes, right? So
okay.
So here's what you would fill out, and I'm going to call out what people typically forget to do or do incorrectly. You have to check a box. See how it says check one? You have to check a box. 1099s, if you are receiving 1099 income, but you're receiving it to your LLC, you have to check LLC. If you're receiving it individually, independent contractor, okay? That's most of the time what we see people getting wrong. Your business legal name is the, for 1099s, it's whoever is getting paid that 1099 money. So for instance, if it's your LLC, it's your LLC's name. If it's your individual name, you would put your individual name here. You do not put where you're getting your 1099 income from, okay? In this box, we get that a lot. Go ahead.
Okay. 你如果是1099收入的话，那上面是发给你自己的话，那你就是选择 independent contractor。在这个框框里面，你一定要选择一个。你如果你的1099是付到你的 LLC 的话，那你就选择 LLC。然后呢，你的 business legal name 就是这个钱，你的收入是付给谁的？比如说是付给你自己，那么你就写你的名字；如果是付给你的 LLC， 那你就写 LLC。OK， 然后下面就是写你的那个地址。你这边不是写谁付给你钱 ，OK， 是写你自己，是这个钱是付给谁的，所以说就是写你自己的资料。
Okay. All right. I'm getting several questions about realtors, so I just want to clarify. Realtors, if you're using your 1099 income, it's the same rule that I told you about. If that 1099 is paid to an LLC, you check the LLC box. If you are a realtor receiving 1099 and it's coming to you directly as a named individual with your social security number on it, then you're an independent contractor.
如果你是地产经纪人，那你的1099是付给你的话，那你就选择 independent contractor。如果你的1099是付到 LLC， 那你就选择 LLC。然后下面就写你的名字和你的地址。
Yep. Okay. I love your drawing, by the way. That's awesome.
He is great at it.
Oh, can we go back up just real quick? I want to make sure I want to make sure I covered everything. So if you are listing your own name on this, if you're a 1099, your business TIN is your social security number. Okay. If you are using your LLC, if there's an actual business up in the business legal name, then you use your EIN number. Okay.
Yes. 如果你1099是付给你自己，那你的 business TIN 就是你自己的 SSN， 你自己的涉案号。如果你的1099是付到你的 LLC， 那上面如果有 business EIN 号码，那你就是填那个 business EIN 号码。
Okay. I'm liking the writing. Letting that come in first. Okay.
Make sure.
Yep. Okay. And then I think the rest is pretty self-explanatory, right? On the last slide, do we want to go over anything else?
I think I want to go back up, Champagne.
More?
Yes. I want them to make sure they fill out the form correctly, so
you don't ask us any more questions, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So other important things on this form, we need to have an email address.
Yes.
A lot of people miss that. We need to have it. Otherwise, there's nowhere to send the loan documents to. So you never get your money. Must have. Okay. And I must be able to read it, please. So then average monthly payroll, we went through how to calculate that before. So I'm not going to run through that necessarily. And then you take your average monthly payroll and you multiply that by 2.5 to get your loan amount. Your number of employees, please heed the advice that Joe already mentioned to you. Be conservative, be accurate on that. Okay. Do not include people who you pay 1099 income to, please. Okay.
Okay. I personally, I think for a lot of you guys who have questions, before you type that question, think if it's already answered. I know when it comes up, you already have the temptation to answer them.
Okay.
All right.
I haven't translate.
I'm sorry.
那这里表格还有说到的就是要填上很重要的一点，一定要填上你的 email address，OK？ 然后你自己的电话 ，email address 一定要写清楚。一般来说，你用电脑去填的话，它是一个就是可以自动填进去的表。You know， 你可以直接在上面填上去是最好的，因为他们要看清楚，因为他们批了之后就会把你的批的结果发到你的这个 email 去 ，OK？ 然后刚刚讲过的就是你算出来你 average， 你每个月的 you know 工资是多少，填在第一个框框，然后呢乘以 2.5 倍填在第二个框框， 2.5 倍一定要准确到 you know 几毛几分钱 ，OK？ 然后下面是选择 Payroll， 就是说付钱给你自己的，付工资给你自己。然后员工，你是1099的话，那你就是一个员工 ，OK？
Okay.
All right, we can move on now.
Okay, perfect. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so owner name information. Each owner that has over 20% ownership in a company needs to put down their information here. So for instance, if you are a 1099, and you're getting paid individually, this is your own information. You would put your social security number in again in your home address. I'll stop there.
那这边就是讲到填谁的名字，对吧？你是1099的话，就是填你自己的名字，你的 title 是 owner， 然后你的 ownership 是100%，然后你的 SSN 号码，还有你的地址。
Now, if you have a company with multiple owners, you would put down each of those owners with more than 20% ownership and their personal information.
然后呢，你如果这个公司任何一个人有超过20%的股份的话，那些的每个人的名字都要写出来，还有他们股份占多少，对吧？他们的 SSN 号码，所有的超过20%的这些 owner 要绿卡或者公民的 ，OK？
Okay. All right. And if you have a business that owns you, so for instance, if you have an investor or something like that, which is very rare, you would put down the business's name and the EIN number and the business's name, address.
然后有一些特殊的案子，如果你是属于哪一个公司的话，就是说投资人就能投资在你这里，那你的 owner name 就是那个investor 的那个名字，还有他的这些信息。
Okay. For the questions down below, most of them are usually no, except for line 3. If you own any other businesses, you do need to check yes, and then include what other businesses you have more than 20% ownership of.
Which number?
Number 3.
Oh, okay. Okay. If the owner, you say if you more, I wasn't, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that's okay. If you own another business, if you own multiple businesses, you have to check yes, and then list what other businesses you own. And that's only if you own more than 20% of that business.
OK. 那第三个问题，你如果是有其他的公司的股份超过20%的话，那你这个回答就是 yes， 然后要说出是其他的哪一些公司。
So here's a question, Amanda. If people have like a 1099 for a company, say example realtors, right? They have a 1099 and then they normally want to set up an S corporation or C corporation. Do you have to name that corporation name as well?
You're supposed to. Now it's just it's an addendum A. It's a very quick list. You just have to list that you have another. Now, it depends. It really depends on the situation. It depends on if that S corp was also paid that 1090, if what type of structure they used for that 1099. Okay. If that makes sense.
So, okay, I guess the answer is really, if you for sure know other businesses, it's a no. And then if you have other businesses, you can indicate it because you just need to provide the proof. Because obviously this question is really to avoid people applying multiple companies when they are only one per individual.
Yeah. So, okay.
Okay, well I translate. This one I got it. So 如果你只有一个公司的话，你的答案呢就是 no。你如果你就比如说你就1099，你没有别的公司名字的话，那你的 answer 你的答案就是 no。但是呢，你如果就是你1099，然后你还有别的公司，或者你有一家公司，你还有别的公司，那你的答案就是 yes。That's it。然后如果有多于一家公司，像按照这个 answer 是 yes 的话，那你就得要提供这些信息就好了。
Okay. All right. Oh, my favorite couple of questions on the whole application. These should be all easy. Okay. It's a no, no, yes, no, typically. However, most people forget to initial number 5 and number 6. Please don't forget to do that.
You know why? Because Champion forget to teach us.
Like, it's the #1 reason why we are sending back applications right now. We will still get you an SBA loan number, but we can't move you on to closing until we get those initials. The bank will kick it back every single time.
Yeah. OK. 第5到第8题，回答是 no no yes no OK。然后第5题和第6题千万不要忘了要写上你的 initial， 就是你名字的you know 前面2位字母，比如说我的名字是晴瑜，对吧？那我要写 QY OK 千万不要忘了这个，因为你只有填完整的表，那你的贷款才能很快的批下来。
Okay, I think, and tell if you check no on question number 7, we cannot proceed forward with getting you an SBA loan number. We will have to have an updated application.
如果你第7题回答填错了，填 no 的话，那他们没办法帮你审批，你要重新改成 yes 才可以。这里就是说的是。申请人或者你付给 W2 的员工，所有人是美国的绿卡居民或者是公民才可以的。
Okay. All right.
Next page.
Next page.
What about the franchise?
Franchise, typically, if you're a franchise, if you're not a franchise, that answer is, I would say 90% always no, unless you are a franchise, in which case then check yes.
Franchise 中文怎么说啊？
连锁店，你如果是连锁店，你打 yes， 如果不是就是 no， 90%的人都是 no， 跟着做就好了哈。
Okay. Okay. Oh, well, look at all the markups already. I was going to say, you need to initial page 2 of the application to certify that you are agreeing to all of these things, all of these stipulations.
每一条你都要签上自己名字的第一个字母，像我的名字 QY，you know， 每一条都要签过去。
Okay.
That's it, right?
That's it.
Signature. And
signature at the end. Signature.
Oh my God, I keep forgetting to add that slide.
Okay. Well, yeah. It's the signature, print your name, the date, and the title. Yes, 就是最后一页是你签名，然后写出你的名字，还有
I can pull it up again, Quinn. Quinn, I can pull up, but let's go on this slide. We can go forward.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Amanda, you might want to say in English and then Quinn translate. She doesn't even know what to say for now.
I don't know.
Quinn, do you want to say it in Chinese first, or you want me to go first?
You could go first.
Okay, so if you have, if your English skills are not the greatest and you speak Chinese, we have these 3 individuals on the screen here to help you. We've had some issues with people, the English to Chinese translation breaking down. So if you need help getting this done and need a Chinese speaker, these are your people for you.
那 Amanda 说了，你如果是英文不够好的话，自己没办法直接跟 Amanda 用 email 沟通的话，那你可以联系我们任何一位，对吧？我们会帮你收集你所需要的资料，然后检查一下，没有错误的时候，然后发送给 Amanda。这样子的话，你的表可以在24到48小时内批下来。
Okay.
And more 还有这几位美女也可以找，她们也会说中文的 ，OK？ 有 Nikki 美女，吴小金小妹，
Yeah.
吴小英小妹。
And Vietnamese, we also have a translator. So for those who speak Vietnamese, Ivo is here to help you. So please do not let the language barrier stand in the way of you getting this money.
We don't need translation.
Where's the Vietnamese? They should come out and translate. Mai, are you on the line? Hoang?
That's true. We're the Vietnamese.
Any
Vietnamese.
Can you translate?
We got Vietnamese.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And here are the Indonesian translators.
Yep.
因为就是说我们是公益性的帮助大家，我们不是为了赚钱然后呢，我们是代表世界金融集团来帮助Amanda 那边，就是说帮你们收集这些资料的。然后呢，就是为了你们不会以语言困扰而不去申请这个贷款 ，OK？ 我们希望能帮助到大家。
而且今天已经教会了你们拿到钱是怎么样子豁免，不是贷款，贷款怎么变成豁免的钱，等于是免费的钱。你们不去申请，这个是你们自己的损失了。
So we're getting questions coming in. Any Thai translators and any Portuguese translators?
Contact Champing Wu, and I will refer you to all the Thai people. And what else? Portuguese, I also know. Just talk to Champing, and I'll assign you all the translators.
Okay. All right. So, so here's my email address. I know a lot of you have been asking. Some of you have personally asked where you are in the queue. So basically how we work, just so you know, you send us an email. It gets reviewed to make sure all of your information is complete before we put the information into the system. Sometimes we can proceed forward without all of the information, so we'll do that and ask you for additional information on the back end. Don't expect me to know necessarily if you're still in that triage mode, if your information is complete, because nobody's reviewed your information yet. Okay, so just so you know, once we get your information, we'll either ask you some questions about it, or you will receive an approved SBA loan number from us. Okay, so go ahead.
下面就是 Amanda 的她的 email, OK？ Amanda.Prochaska at hppcoach.com, OK？ 你们最好就是整理好所有的资料齐全，然后发给他。然后呢，请给予他们一点时间，不要还没到24小时就已经在那边一直催了 ，OK？ 因为呢，你知道从银行那边贷款，你知道一般是要2个星期，可能还没回复给你，所以说你们自己做好自己该做的，然后呢把信息发给 Amanda， 她会以最快的速度，所有资料齐全的话，会在24到48个小时之内就会批了。我昨天刚刚帮我婶婶提交了一个表，今天就已经批了，所以说他们是非常好的。
Okay, closing process. So if you do move forward with us and you receive an approved SBA loan, there's one more step that happens, and it's the closing process for your loan. Do you want to translate that, Quinn, real quick?
那么如果你的贷款批了之后呢，就是签合同的流程了。
Okay, so you'll receive a DocuSign email from H. Cronin or Nexon Pruitt, and you'll be asked several questions to complete, including you need to upload your driver's license or any other government issued ID, your articles of incorporation or business license, or if you are a 1099, you simply upload your 1099 documents. And then you will sign your promissory note within that DocuSign.
OK， 那么签合同过程是这样子的，你们会在10天之内收到H. Cronin 或者 Nexon Pruitt 发过来的邮件。然后会要求你完成几个问题 确认你的身份，然后呢，要再次发你的驾照，还有公司成立文件，还有你的1099表，然后呢，通过一个 DocuSign 电子签名来签署完成。
So 这里是说，如果你是按照1099，你就要提供你的1099信息。如果是按照 W2 啊或者什么的，你只需要你的公司成立文件就好了。Okay, I think that's it. I really want to show that math over the face with money, but I didn't have time. Anyways,
I have it. You can pull it out on your phone, Champagne share screen.
It's too much work. Let me go on to that slide real quick. Earlier we talked about signing just because we have language barrier. So let me pull that up real quick. Maybe Nikki, oh, by the way, last time about the question 5 and 6 about initial, Nikki teach me to remind everybody. So let's let Nikki be the moderator for answering all the questions. Yes, big hand for Nikki.
Nikki, you're doing a great job.
So whoever saw that video of me teaching you how to do it, no excuse for not getting it done. Okay, so this is the application, just the link that earlier sent out by Amanda. Okay, this is where, okay, let me show my screen real quick. You guys can see it, right?
Yes.
Okay, let me blow it up a little bit. This is the last page here. You initial all of this nice things, QU, QY, or whatever. Don't copy QY. That's Quinn's initial. And then write Quinn's signature. And then write your name, Quinn, you, for example. Date. Man, Chinese is very limited here. I don't even know. Okay, your title, owner. If you're 1099, you're the owner. If you're the president, you're the president. If you're the vice president, you're the vice president.
OK， 那这个页面就是我刚刚说的最后一页，你在旁边所有的小小的线上，你要 initial， 就是你名字的第一个字母 ，OK， 然后下面就是你的签名，还有写出你的名字，然后旁边是你的日期，就是你申请那天的日期，然后 title 就是写 owner。
Okay. We're opening for questions. Nikki, are you on the line? Can you help us out with all these Q&As? Because Nikki will block some of those already asked questions. I love her when she does that.
Yes. I would love Nikki to.
Oh, Nikki's so great.
Nikki.
Yeah, I'm here.
Great.
All right. So first person, we're going to start with Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Michelle, do you have a question? Maybe not. Michelle. Yeah, we can't. Hold on a second. Let's try to unmute you. Are you there?
Oh yes, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, because I sent the email to you. And I applied the PPP on April 13 of the Bank of America, right? And then they make a mistake because they just approved the loan amount give us as the 4,000, but our 940 amount as over this one. So and then but you know, after I received the email from the banker, and then my English is not very well, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. They have two choice. One choice, they show the loan amount as 4,000, and the payroll per month is 600, right? And total 2.5 times 4,000, right? So the loan amount is 4,000. I can choose two. One is accept, one is a cancel. But I don't know, because they have a lot of the they still have a lot of the question. I need to complete that and then submit, right? So I don't know when I don't know why I clicked the stop accept, you know. So after that they said because they cannot fix it, the loan amount for me, because I clicked the yes, right. Yeah. So for now, I asked the question on the web chat, and then they said you can apply again. So yesterday, I sent an email to you for.
Okay, Michelle, I think your question is very very detail oriented. It's probably better to reach out to Amanda, and if you think your English is more limited, this is the time where you reach out to the group that we talk about, just so that we need to be a little bit quick on this, because we only have a few more minutes, and yours is more detailed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Michelle, just email. I think you emailed us yesterday, but let's email us if you have any additional questions.
Yeah, no. Yeah, because I in a meeting, right?
Do you speak Vietnamese? What do you speak, Michelle?
中文，我讲中文。
OK， 那你可以联系我们任何一位中文的人员，然后我们会帮你联系 Amanda， 我们会把你的情况告诉 Amanda， 然后他会回答应该怎么解决，好吗？
好的，好的 ，OK， 谢谢啊。OK，Thank you。
Yeah。下一位 Nikki。
All right, so next person, hi.
Who's up next?
Hey, Amanda, that's you speaking. May I ask you? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I just found out that I forgot input my contact.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm missing my email address and the phone call number. So what should I do right now? Do I need to?
So is this you?
Yeah, it's you. Oh, yes.
So you, we found that on other documentation. So the bank has it.
Okay. So you already input input for me. Thank you. I appreciate that, Amanda. Thank you.
You didn't know how to do that for all the time, but yes, we caught that one.
Okay. Sorry. Just found out. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Next.
We just send the form to Amanda, right? We fill out the form and then we send it direct to your email.
Champagne, we're seeing your screen, by the way.
Yeah, I want to show, because you guys did a really good job. Just yesterday, you got 23 business owners approved, more than $300,000 in funding. And then the day before, we had 18 people. I want to share all the good news. So yes. Oh wait, this part, not this part though.
Yeah. So we have, I know, and we have several more. I know I was trying to work while Joe was talking. So we have several more that are coming in to get out to you all of you. Sean, did you have a question?
Yeah, just real quick. So I'm a realtor, and the 1099 is paid to me, right? And then I have an S Corp LLC.
Right.
So obviously it's more advantageous to file the 1099 as opposed to the W-2.
Usually, yes.
Yep, in this case it is.
Yep.
And I received an SBA, what do you call it? Some sort of SBA.
You're probably EIDL advance.
I received a couple grand in SBAD Treas 310.
Yes, yeah, that's an idle loan. You don't have to. They're two separate programs, right? So if you receive the advance, you can still apply for PPP if that's your question, Sean.
There is but on number 4 says, have you received an SBA loan? Do I say yes or no?
The answer is no, as long as you have, the answer is no, as long as you have received the funds after April 3rd. If you have received the fund before April 3rd, then the answer is yes. But at the same time, you know, this is also the full loan amount, but you probably got, it's only in advance. So the answer is still no. Most of the time it's no.
You would be like a 1 in 2 million exception to mark that yes.
Got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi.
Okay, who's up next?
Glenn, translate that.
I have a question. Can you please tell me what's the last day?
I'm sorry. Until I call your name out, you can answer the question. All right, Tim Mark. Tim.
Hello. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. I have a question. I only received 1099, so I just filed as a self-employed. Self-contractor.
Hear you, Tim. Can you guys hear him?
I can't. I'm having a hard time hearing him.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
No, that's worse.
Tim, you can ask me directly, Tim.
Hey, Quinn. So if I only have 1099, what is the way for the loan to be forgiven?
Whatever the amount that you qualify for.
What should I do after that, after I receive the money?
So when you receive the money, so if you're a 1099, what Joseph said was right, and what our bank does is they create a business account for you. And then they deposit the money into the business account, and then you draw from that business account over 8 weeks to pay yourself.
And you're gonna send me a 1099 afterward?
No, we don't send, it's not a 10, you don't receive a 1099 from this.
But it's a loan, isn't it?
You have to sign a promissory note, and that's what the DocuSign process is. Okay?
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome, Tim.
Hello, can I have a question?
Hold on, let's let Nikki call you in, please. Nikki, who's next?
Wait, are you there? Hey, Judy, you can go first.
Hey, Amanda, I have one question for the forgiveness application. So when shall we start, and when is the last day for that application?
So for forgiveness, for forgiveness, Judy, it starts the first day you actually receive the funds in your account. Okay.
Okay.
And you have 8 weeks after that.
Okay.
To use the money. After the 8 weeks are passed, then we would work with our lender, which is Greater Commercial Lending, and we would go through the forgiveness process. I will, as part of what we do for our clients, we will be circling back with all of you to give you more details around the forgiveness process. In fact, we might even do some webinars on it just to help you through that portion of this loan.
Okay, so we do not, it's not open yet for the forgiveness.
No, the earliest day that you could get forgiveness or apply for forgiveness, that's cute. Earliest day that we can apply for forgiveness is June 30th.
June 30th. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so Faye, you can ask the question. Are you there, Faye? Hello?
Faye?
Right, let me just get her.
Hello?
All right, Ellen.
Elaine, right? Elaine.
I'm sorry, Elaine.
Elaine, are you there?
我们听得到你讲话。We can hear you. E-L-L-E-N. Elaine.
E-L-L-E-N.
Okay.
All right, let's get to the next one.
If you don't talk, we're gonna skip.
Nikki, can you also tell who's next so they could get ready to talk?
All right, I will. So Katie.
Hello.
Hi, Katie.
可以听得到。
OK， 我想问一下，去申请那个 forgiveness 那个 loan， 他要另外一个 application 吗？填 application 吗
？For the loan forgiveness, is there an application?
I'm trying to determine that with the bank right now, and we will let our clients know that once I get further information.
Amanda, we could actually do another Zoom session just on that as well.
Yep,
yeah.
Absolutely.
目前还不知道，他们现在正在就是了解当中，等知道了会告诉大家。我们之后应该也会有一个Zoom的会议来告诉大家怎么做。
OK， 那我还有一个问题，就是说我的 loan 是5月1号批下来的，就是这个月头5月1号，那就是在这个从5月1号算起的8周后是6月，不是6月26号，是8周对吧？3、4、1、2、3、4。
你的问题是
6月26号。那我的问题就是说，因为我们是每个月底配工人的，那这个月底5月份的月底可以配，那到6月份的就这个要怎么算？我是配 monthly 的。
Amanda, so they originally pay the employee by month. How would they pay those PPP loan? Weekly or monthly?
They can continue to pay as they did. However, they have to use the full amount of funds within 8 weeks.
Okay. 你可以按照你月付，可以的。然后呢，你要在8个星期内把所有的贷款的数额全部付工资出去。
OK， 那就是写支票也算就是一个 document， 就是 can prove 这个 forgiveness， 对不对？只要支票的主笔就可以了。
If she roll out a check to the employee, does that count as a proof for loan forgiveness?
That is a question that we need to answer at a later time. We're still getting information on it.
Okay.
But just yeah, so I'll just leave it at that.
目前还不知道，等有消息了会通知大家。
OK， 好，谢谢。
Yes, can I have a question? 问题吗
？Nikki 来，Nikki 帮你。
我可以。Yes,
Hello?
you can go. Yes, yes.
Can I have a question for you?
Yes, please.
Oh, wow, the shot.
There, that might be better.
Okay, yes. Okay, can I speak Chinese?
可以啊，你说啊。
好的 ，OK， 像我的情形是我是2个 business 的嘛哈，一个是我是做窗帘的 ，OK， 然后另外一个就是这个 WFG 哈，那像这种情况是怎么 make it work？
你哪一边收入比较多？你那一边做窗帘的是什么收入？是公司收入还是1099？
也是我的公司是一个 LLC， 但是 actually 其实是我是 owner， 然后但是因为 LLC set up 的时候需要有2个人，所以我就把我先生的名字加上去了。对。
Okay, so the question is 这里问题就是说你有没有出 W2？
我是没有 W2 的。
你没有出 W2？
对，我是1099。
哎，没声音了。
OK， so 问题是你的公司，你的串联公司，你串联公司有没有出 W2 给别人？
没有。
OK， 那你的串联公司有没有收到1099？
Actually， 我的串联公司也没有1099，也是谁给我1099
？OK， 你先答这些问题，我来跟你说你是怎么样子顺序算。OK，So 你如果是没有 W2， 你没有，那你应该有 Schedule C 有吧
？Schedule C 有。
OK， 你就对比 Schedule C 31行多，还是说1099除以2多？如果其中一个多，那你就按照哪一个去申请？比如说是1099，那你就按照1099申请。如果你的那个Schedule C 31行比1099多的话，那你就按照 Schedule C 申请。That's it。
1099，你刚才说是要除以2是吗？
算法都是一样的。
算法已经刚才讲过了，你再回去算一下吧。
你就是看你 Schedule C 31行和1099第7行两个对比，哪一个多就是用哪一个去申请。
OK， 这一点明白了。那个表在哪里啊？申请的表
？SBA 那个网站上，你或者可以
发到那个 group chat WFG 那个 group chat 发一下，问一下 for link， 我们等会儿再发出去一下。
在大德网页那个 group 是吧？
对，
我们会发到那上面去。
太好了，然后我看一下，就是说，这个 forgiveness 就是说，这个是不需要还了吗？还是怎么？
对
，no forgiveness。Yes，
这个问题是非常问题，我们私下再讨论。问题是很基本的问题。
对，是基本的问题，所以我觉得你们下次应该来一个那个讲，不要有任何英文，全部讲中文的，把它全部讲一遍。
这个视频会发给大家的，是中英文的，所以大家今天如果全部从开始到现在在场的话，那你应该已经了解到怎么这个贷款不用还回去了。
好的，
我们也不能把 Joseph 变成中国人，没办法 ，Sorry。
Yeah, understand. OK， 所以你会有一个视频发到大科院那个群里面是吗
这个可能
我会发给 Bell 自己。
那我们该怎么？那我们该怎么收到你的这个 slides 呢？我很想要你们的 slides， 但是我不知道该怎么收到你们的 slides。
如果是 Dr. Wang Yang 团队，我会发给 Bell， 然后 Bell 自己处理 ，Bell decide。
我是 George Hu 的团队，你能信吗
？George Hu 不是也是 Dr. Wang Yang 团队吗 ？Come on。
对的，
但是我不知道是不是就是说，
没错。
下一个问题吧，我们下个问题哈。
没有，那个陈平我刚刚也掉了，那个
I have to
1099。
Sorry, I have to get going.
Okay. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Champagne, I could probably take maybe 2 questions if I.
All right. Let me just let Andrew. You can go first.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Amanda. It's Andrew. I want to know for 1099 independent contractor, if I had to pay by myself, what is the max that I can pay for the 8 weeks?
The whole thing.
The whole thing?
Yes, the whole thing.
Is there any limitation?
No, you need to use the whole thing within 8 weeks. So you need to pay yourself, Andrew, and I love that you asked this question, and you've been so great to work with so far. You will receive the money in our bank's bank account, and then you will transfer the money to your bank account, and you can do that every week. You can do it every 2 weeks, but you have to use it all within 8 weeks.
Okay, and second question is, what happened in the 8 weeks I received the commission doing a real estate transaction? Would that going to disqualify or doesn't matter?
Nope, doesn't matter.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, it's me. Can I ask a question? Hello?
Yep, ask it away.
Okay, I applied on April 7th for my company, but still I didn't get anything back yet. do you think it is something wrong? I had a number. They give to me application, the number.
Application numbers don't really mean anything. So
who did you apply with? Did you apply with Amanda?
Yes, no, it's my CPA applied for me. I had an application number and
so,
waiting for.
Listen, you have two choices. If you haven't been approved, right, then you can go with Amanda, okay? You have Amanda's email. You get all your forms, all your documents, and send it to Amanda. And her team will process it within 24 to 48 hours.
Or I already applied. I don't know.
I know you applied.
Yeah, no, you can apply again as long as you do not have a signed loan. You can apply again. Many people applied many places. I would highly recommend you coming to us, and we can get this done for you.
Yeah, I had I understand. Thank you. Sorry, I had another company, and I pay myself W-2, but it's not much. Like under 1,900, 1,000 around. Can I still apply for this?
No, you only can apply for one business. Period.
Oh, but the other one is pay for other people, not pay for me.
Doesn't matter.
Oh,
unless you're a restaurant, unless you own restaurants.
No, one is a media company. I pay W-2 for my employee, and other companies pay to myself.
Nope, you only have one.
Oh, okay, I got you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, I have to go. Joe is calling me. I gotta go. Okay. Thank you.
You are great. All right.
I'm gonna stop recording because I'm afraid the file is gonna get too big.
下面我们就到这里吧。你们如果有需要帮忙的，可以联系我们任何一位人。